Hello, YouTube. This is SciGuy29 coming at you. Thought I'd do something today that I saw a few days ago now. The Mangini Collection asked people to read backs of cards. And I thought, God, that's something I haven't done in years. And then I saw a couple more channels do it, and I thought, yeah, why not? I'm going to start off with some of my favorites, 1977 tops. This was the second year of my collection. You can see the beautiful box that they're stored in. It's an old cheese box. My dad was a principal of a middle school, and when I started collecting cards, he would just have the cooks save the boxes that the cheese slices and stuff came in. So those became my first storage boxes. So these are some of my 77 tops. Start off with this Jerry Mumphrey. About said the wrong thing, and it's kind of funny that some of these, he's played a fair amount of years. But it says Jerry got his first big league hit on September 2nd, 1975. But if you look at it, it's got all these things, but when you look at the stats just a little bit closer, you realize it was just his second big league season, so or part of the second big league season. One of my favorite players from the 70s, Rick Dempsey. His just says, a timely hitter and fine catcher with a great throwing arm. Rick hits in the clutch. And you can see just how horribly off-center so many of these cards are. Next one is a Tippy Martinez, also an Oriole. His says, Tippy had great series versus former Yankees teammates last September. He hurled 2 scoreless innings to get 11-8 win on September 21st. And in second game of Twinighter, September 22nd, he pitched 1 2/3 innings of perfect baseball to get his 10th save of the year. So Tippy coming out of the bullpen there. And then you get some that are a little bit longer, like this guy, Bill North, kind of an underappreciated guy, I think. The A's weren't ultra competitive at this time. But Bill says the major leaguer led with 75 stolen bases last season. Bill helped the A's to a new AL mark for thefts for a club with 341. He had 17 putouts in the 1974 series. So Bill North. Thought I'd share a few others. Baseball. This is a 1951 Bowman early win. I love the card. It's a BVG 2.5, but I just like the look of it. Kind of like the look on his, kind of a goofy look on his face. But the back is quite extensive on these. It's kind of hard to see. But it says, had best major league season with 1950 Cleveland Indians. Won 18 and lost 8 in 32 games for a percentage of .692, third best in the league. Recorded an ERA of 3.20, tops in the league for pitchers with 10 or more complete games. To their credit, Early's first full season in the majors was 1942. He was traded by the Senators to the Indians after the 1948 campaign. Had an 11-7 record in 49. So kind of a different look at things. Quite an extensive back, because the entire back is that information. Next is a 1955 Bill Moose Scourin. This is a card I just picked up recently. But you can tell the back, once again, gives quite a bit of information. Kind of, there you go. It's a little better to see. This one just says, Bill got into 87 games for the Yankees in 1954, and he hit a fine .340, pre-staging things for the future. His 73 hits were good for 124 total bases, and they included 12 doubles, 9 triples, and 7 homers. He batted in 41 runs and scored 37. He began in baseball in 1951 with Binghamton of the Eastern League. After playing 21 games for them, he went to Norfolk and led the league with a .334 average. He was with Kansas City in 1952 and 53, hitting .341 and .318 respectively. He led the American Association in 1952 with 31 homers and 134 runs batted in. Bill the Moose Scourin. Pulled out a 67 Bob Gibson. Not the greatest shape, but man, just like the look on his face there, man. It was one of those things you never wanted to question. The back's quite a bit different now, but there again, he's got quite a few stats. This one says, the strong-armed right-hander had another fine season last year, despite suffering from occasional arm trouble. Bob used his blazing fastball to lead the Cards pitching staff in victories, complete games, strikeouts, innings pitched, and tied for the lead in shutouts with 5. And in his kind of fine year, he was 21 and 12 with an ERA of 2.44. It was just a fine year. Think of what those stats would equate to in today's game. Next, we have a 1970 Willie McCovey in the back here. And this one just says, Willie's great hitting feats continued in 1969. NL Rookie of the Year, 1959. Annual NL All-Star. Led National League in homers and RBIs for second straight year. Player of the Year in National League and MVP. Had 2 Grand Slams in 1969. So, some nice variation there in cards. Wanted to pull out a hockey card. For those that don't know, I do quite a bit of hockey. This is an 81-82 Gretzky, which would be his 3rd year. And this one's kind of hard to read, but it says, Wayne became NHL's youngest scoring champ ever in 1980-81. He was the first player ever to average at least 2 points per game, 2.05, among players with 50 or more points. Set mark for assists. I like these cards because they give you another little fun fact down at the bottom. And this one says, Wayne set NHL records with 109 assists and 164 points during the 1980-81 season. So this is one I just recently came across. Paid 65 cents for this, so I couldn't pass it up off center a little bit left or right, but I just like the look of the card. It's got that kind of that determined look on his face. And the last one I want to share, I didn't even put in a sleeve. I just found the other day as I was going through some things. And that's a Moses Malone Skybox card from 1992. Moses Malone was one of my favorites growing up. Once he got traded to the 76ers, or signed with the 76ers. But this is a salute card that they had. And I find this to be from 92. I'm going to read the back of it and just kind of think about what it says. It says, Moses Malone, when most of today's NBA stars were still learning the fundamentals of basketball in grade school, Moses Malone was already a star in the professional ranks. Since 1974, Malone has been performing with the very best in the game. Now in his 17th pro season, there isn't much that Malone hasn't accomplished in the NBA. The lone active player who saw action in the ABA, Malone played on an NBA championship team in Philadelphia in '83 and has won the NBA's Most Valuable Player award 3 times. He has led the NBA in rebounding 6 times and played in 11 NBA All-Star games. This to me is one of the most underrated players in the NBA history. This guy was phenomenal for a really long time. Those young guys, go check him out. Nothing flashy, but he just always got it done. 3 MVPs, says it all. So thanks, Mangini Collection. Those that haven't checked out his channel, make sure you do. It's great stuff. He's always sharing not only his cards, but his knowledge. One of those things I really look for when I try to find a channel. So until next time, SciGuy29, out.